You're listening to Confessions of a Bookkeeper, where we look at businesses through the eyes of their books. My name is Mark, your Chief Bookkeeping Officer, and I spent years cleaning up and reviewing some, let's say, interesting books. In this episode, let's talk about project costing, specifically for creative agencies and production companies. From your bookkeeper's perspective, this isn't about forcing a new process on you or telling you how to run your business. This is about support. It's about helping you see whether each project is truly profitable and giving you a clearer picture of how your money is working for you. And let me be clear, project costing isn't required. This isn't construction where you have to track costs for compliance, insurance, or bonding purposes. For creative agencies, project costing is ultimately a stretch goal, but it can be incredibly valuable once you're ready for it. It's one of those things that sits in our wheelhouse, something we can build with you when the time is right, to give you the visibility that you need when you grow. That said, costing doesn't happen overnight. It's not a light switch you flip in a small business. The moment you decide to start, what you're really saying is, from this job forward, we're going to handle things a little bit differently. We don't need to go backwards and rebuild past projects unless you want us to. The real progress happens moving forward, job by job, step by step. Because costing isn't just an accounting exercise, it's an operational structure. And that means the team, the process, and all the information flow needs to be in place first. The first step is finding a rhythm for collaboration between you as a business owner and us as your bookkeeper. If you want to cost your projects, we need a consistent cadence for reviewing expenses and activity, be it weekly, monthly, whatever makes sense for your volume. When I say volume, I'm not talking about revenue, I'm talking about your transaction count. If your business runs 30 or 40 credit card transactions a month, we can meet monthly and still stay on top of the costing. But if you're processing 400 or 500 transactions or more, that's an entirely different story. Costing becomes more complex when there's no real-time context for those expenses. That's when tools like Expensify, Ramp, or Bill Spend and Expense can help. Platforms that create employee cards, collect receipts instantly, and tag transactions to projects at the point of purchase. You don't have to start there, but those systems can make life easier once your agency scales up. Let's just say we're planting the seed for the future software and technology resources that can benefit your business. Project count matters too. If you got half a dozen active jobs, that's already a lot for a small operation. You're running a lean team with a heavy workload, and that's fine. You can manage the creative side, the client side, and the scheduling, but the accounting has to rise up to the level of that activity. It needs to support what you're building and not lag behind it. That brings us to the next key piece, having dedicated points of contact. We need to know when a new project is spooling up so we can prepare on our side just like you do on yours. In most creative businesses, that person is a project manager, someone close enough to the work to know who's spending what, where, and when. But finding and training a project manager takes time. You just don't hire them and hand them management and costing responsibilities on day one. They have to learn the company, understand the process, and get comfortable managing logistics before we ever layer in accounting coordination. That's why project costing can't be rushed. It takes operational readiness first, then accounting structure second. If the owner has no bandwidth, it's not sustainable. But when the right people are in place, costing becomes manageable and repeatable. We spoke earlier about transaction volume. And that ties into one of the easiest wins for incorporating costing into your accounting operations: credit card structure. If you have multiple project managers, assigning each one a specific authorized user card is ideal. If not, you can still keep things clean by designating distinct cards for each project. For example, your Amex for Project A, the Chase Visa for Project B, and the Discover card for Project C. It's as simple as sending us a note. The Discover card ending in 6334 is Project 3, and that's all we will need. From there, we can tie every charge to the right project automatically. You'd be amazed how much that one small change eliminates confusion. Just be sure not to use project-designated cards for operating expenses. Now let's talk about payroll, because that's where project costing can get complicated quickly. Small and new creative agencies don't usually have built-in job clocking or project tracking systems like other industries do. Construction firms, for instance, must use software that tracks labor by the job because they have to. They're required to for insurance, bonding, or government compliance. That's not your world. You're not trying to meet a regulation. Many of our creative agency clients don't have supporting time tracking software, and that's perfectly fine. Most creative teams just run payroll, everyone gets paid, projects get done, and the details kind of blur. But if we can start capturing even the simplest information, like who worked on which project and for roughly how long, that's enough to start building visibility into profitability. It doesn't have to be complex software. A shared spreadsheet or short weekly updates is often enough. The goal isn't to measure every minute, though that can be a long-term goal, but to understand the shape of your labor cost. And if your labor costs are mostly outside contractor services, there are a few things we can do to help create structure around them. Make sure every contractor sends in completed W-9s so we're compliant with IRS regulations. Ask that their invoices reference a project identifier you provide and clearly separate hourly labor from reimbursable expenses. We'll address your profit and loss layout to include subaccounts for individual contractors, improving 1099 reporting, spend tracking, and overall visibility. Speaking of expenses, there are operational costs to consider, the soft costs that sit behind the work but still support it. Think workers' compensation, subscriptions, software, travel reimbursements, asset libraries, or vendor fees. Some belong in overhead, like your rent, others tied directly to a project. The most important thing is to make that decision intentionally. Once we agree on how to handle those categories, whether it's allocating a percentage, tagging vendors, or classifying certain expenses as job-related, your costing gains consistency and your bookkeeper can make things more hands-off for you going forward. Consistency is what turns data into something meaningful. Finally, let's talk about business structure. As your agency grows, you'll reach a point where you can't keep doing everything yourself, managing clients, staff, creative output, and accounting. It's just too much for one person. That's when it makes sense to add some internal support, someone who helps with receivables, coordinates costing with us, and keeps the financial process steady. When that happens, everything clicks into place. You're still focused on the creative side, but the system behind you finally keeps pace with the business. Project costing isn't about tracking money for the sake of tracking money. It's about giving your accounting a greater purpose, beyond tax filings, and helping you make informed, confident decisions. It helps you answer questions like, did we actually earn this milestone yet? And that means, can we bill accurately? Or, are we truly halfway through this job? Which implies, can we support our invoice if our client ever asks for detail? Or, did we overshoot our budget? That means it's time to refine your estimating process. Or, is this going to be profitable for us at all? And that's where accounting can become the catalyst for a great change in your business model. Those are questions that define sustainability. And when you can answer them, when your numbers back up your instincts, that's when your business becomes predictable. So no, project costing isn't mandatory, and it is optional, but it's one of the most valuable tools a growing creative business can develop. And when you're ready to build that visibility, we'll be right there to help you set it up, one project at a time.